before COVID, after. But first of all, I was thinking about some of the things you said about how you've been treated. Because when COVID happened, it was just carry on as normal in my life. Because from the day I started 45 years ago, as a 24-year-old, starting to be the only naturopath in Dunedin at the time. I was the only one for a start. But my practice did actually
Poor people? You've got all the choices in the world, but there's one.
I only had one vision, and I still have the same vision, to tell the truth. And the only way you can tell the truth is, first of all, you've got to know what the truth is. And what happens when you make a decision like that, and you make it freer, and you want to know what's true, you get told what lies are all about. And so from the day I first started my practice, you wouldn't believe the amount of persecution that I've had too. So I really related to that a lot. Otago Medical School, and they're all having a party, and they all literally turned their backs on me. And I also remember a few years later they invited me to talk to them too, and I got a standing ovation from over 1,000 medical students listening to me talking about iridology and herbal medicine. But at the end of those 4 years, they're all brainwashed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so COVID didn't actually sort of change my ideas about anything, because people are asking me, well, what do you do about the spike proteins, and what do you do about this and that, and so on and so forth. And my stance has never been any different. It's ABC: activate the immune system, build new blood, and clean out toxic waste. It's incredibly simple. And it's the simplicity that I want to get through actually today and in my practice. Because you can read about this wonderful magic bullet here and this fantastic herb from Outer Mongolia and all this crap, but even that dog knows what to do, because I was watching this doggy. What's your doggy's name?
Jazz.
I was watching Jazz eat some cat's ear. I just know it as cat's ear. It's a bitter herb that helps clean the liver and the kidneys. And there's Jazz nibbling medicines, and so we the whole of nature is so for us. We're sitting in a medical field here, and just around us I can see lots and lots of different plants that are a wee bit over there is the plantain, which is brilliant for sandfly bites, cleaning up your blood, and we're just surrounded by this incredible abundance every moment of every second. And we're breathing oxygen, and we're just, this world is, no matter what happens in your life, and no matter what crap there is, the simplicity of healing is just unbelievably childlike. And we seem so many people have lost this childlike view of things. Activate, build, and cleanse. So one of the things I do, which I won't talk about today, is the eyes. I read eyes. And the wonderful thing about the eyes is that it's an orb. It's like the earth. It's an orb. And the pollutions in the mountains and the valleys and everything shows up. The rivers, the lakes, the streams all show up in an eyeball. And it's this incredibly complex organ that displays everything that's going on in your body. So during the COVID thing, I wasn't worried at all about this deadly virus. I mean, I have a microscope that's a very sophisticated microscope. It's a bit like an X-ray. I just take one single drop of blood, put it in a slide, and I have a look at the blood, and it's going to tell me whether it's a Wymax or it's like the Avon. And I know which one I want to drink from. So every now and again I'd have a look at the blood, and I saw my white blood cells bouncing along, looking just fantastic. I knew that I don't care if the bloody got a bucket full of COVID poured over my head. A person with a bloodstream like this cannot get COVID.
No one can get COVID. It was all a lie.
So, activate, build, and cleanse. So if we look at these white blood cells, and here this is the microscope that I use, the dark field microscope, and then we look at it from a view of an electron microscope. these white blood cells, these are T lymphocytes, and they're attacking a cancer cell. And here's another one, a macrophage, that eats bacteria. It just sort of grabs up your bacteria like it's a pie and just munches it all up. You know, delicious. And blood that doesn't have quality gets all messed up like this. It's what we call oxidative damage. So we can see you don't have a PhD to know that this is an invincible immune system, and that's a polluted Bromley tip of rubbish. And so this person's going to be vulnerable to anything that comes along. And the important thing is to remember that we have this incredible medicine chest around us. The first one is called water. Drinking clean water.
Where do you find that these days?
Well, you get yourself a water purifier.
River Law.
and we've got clean air so far, despite the bloody
River Law
chemtrails
terrorists.
and stuff,
Yep.
there's still enough. The overwhelming power of nature, the overwhelming intelligence of nature is so huge compared with this crap that we're putting up with at the moment.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you focus on it, when you focus on anything, it just blows it up. I'm not saying it's out of proportion, but I'm saying this crap that's happening, this bullshit that's happening, it's no different over the last several thousand years. And I especially remember the day I started. In fact, when I finally moved to Christchurch, I worked in Harley Chambers, and it was full of these medical professionals. And I went next door to an ophthalmologist and a dentist, and I remember moving all my gear into my secretary and moving. And this guy come out in a three-piece suit, and I wore a three-piece suit then too.
Why?
Well, I felt that I had to be professional. I was a professional, let's face it, I had a lot of years training. And this chap comes up and he says, "Hello, I'm Dr. So-and-so. What's your specialty?" And I told him. And it was so funny because he leapt up about a metre in the several feet in the air and jumped back. And our two secretaries are watching and he said, "Oh my God, he's one of those!" And he ran back into his office. I never saw him again. 3 months later, he was gone. He didn't have anything to do with a quack. So I had this, and I noticed I had a friend who I decided to do naturopathy. I was tossing up whether to do medical school or naturopathy. I decided on naturopathy. My friend decided to do medical school. So when we both graduated around the same time, I noticed when he started practice, he told me that the drug companies offered him free computers, trips away to Fiji, and all he needed was to have the access to his patient records so they could tailor-make the advertising so he'd sell more of this or that, and he'd get the free trip to Fiji. They mollycoddled him all the way. And when I went for a business grant like other people's businesses, no way could I get a business grant. No way. All the way along. And I was lucky enough to have my a friend of mine who is a mathematics professor. I didn't do mathematics. Gave me $20,000 into my practice in the first 5 years, just to help me along. And she did that twice. So I was very lucky. So this is not a victim story, because I've got another side of the fence. I have been the luckiest bugger on the planet. I've been incredibly lucky. But in terms of getting anything from mainstream, forget it. They hate people like me. On a yearly basis, even though I'm partially retired now, I would still cost drug companies millions of dollars every single year.
Yeah. You are what Big Pharma
Because when
fears.
people come up with me with drugs and things, I want them off them within the year unless they really have to have them.
You are what Big Pharma fears.
They are terrified of people like me.
Yeah.
So I think the message that I want to give you is, for a start, everyone here, all of you, had this incredible stance that you're not going to let your soul be tarnished. This meeting is a little bit like, I was thinking of Socrates when you were talking. And he had to drink this cup of poison because he'd been poisoning the youth with freedom. Right? With freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And the slave who was delivering him the poison was crying. He did not want to. Even the politician said, "Look, Socrates, well, just leave town. We don't really want to kill you, just leave. But I know. He sat there and he said, because there's nothing's going to destroy my soul. I'm still alive. And he took the cup from the slave and he takes a sip and he tells everybody, and he's just having a normal discourse. He's saying, well, this is what truth and that. He's just inviting people to talk. You know, he knew everybody's name in Athens. And he would try to find out what's truth. And he'd go up to somebody and say, what's truth? And the person would tell him. And then he said, well, where did you find that out? Oh, so-and-so told me. So then Socrates would go to so-and-so and find out what he would say about it. And then so-and-so said, he said, well, where did you find that out? So everyone found out something from somebody else. It was all just passed on information. So Socrates...
Mainstream media back in the old day.
Back then was just full of bullshit. People just believed this crap.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he had another sip and he says, I want you to know that I'm still alive. But I can't feel my legs. And he carried on this discourse and he said another drink and said, I want you to know that the poison's starting to work and I can't feel, my torso, but I want you to know that I'm still alive. And this went on for another, I don't know how long it takes for Hemlock to kill somebody, not that long, an hour or two, depending on how much he drinks. So he downs the cup and he said, I want you to know that in time I'm going to stop talking. So he's got like a vocal cord and he's paralysed. And I want you to know I'm still alive. And he died. And it's the spirit of Socrates that I want to get across today, that no matter what, you're still alive. And that the whole process of knowing the truth takes courage. You all have it here. The second thing to know about truth is that always has been in history, there are 3 stages of truth. And the first one is it's completely ignored. So when I started my practice in Dunedin, yeah, sure, I was so fully booked, it wasn't funny. 3 months ahead, I was fully booked all the time. And I was basically ignored except for the time they wanted to hear an alternative practitioner for the students to laugh at. But they didn't laugh. They sure as hell didn't laugh. They wouldn't try. And so it's just ignored, and I don't know how many people you've got families, you've had some funny ideas, and they say, oh yeah, that's silly, don't worry about that. And then the second stage of truth is, because a lot of people start believing it, it's violently opposed. Get some real shit happening, and this is the shit that's happening now, is this opposition from our mainstream media, from our politicians, some even family members. The type of shit that we get is pretty unbelievable, and we're in the second stage of truth now. But yesterday I felt that the third stage of truth was on its way. I could feel the edge of the third stage of truth. And it was very interesting. I was going into the Barrington supermarket, and there was another baby boomer coming out of a cafe. He looked like me, we all begin to look the same after a while. Got a bit of a white beard, not much hair, and we just caught each other on. He says, hey, g'day fella.
Did he have a crap hat too?
All I know is the look in his eye and the energy and the vibe, because I'm pretty good at picking up instant vibe. And I could tell that he's just looking for someone that was bloody sensible and just was like him. And as I walked into the supermarket, and I said, yeah, g'day mate, and there was that instant, oh my God, he knows what a woman is. Don't
ask a politician.
Jesus, there's a guy, he'd pick up a hitchhiker, he'd fix someone's leaky tap. He's just a good bloke, and getting this feeling there's a few good blokes out there, there's a whole lot of there's rubies in the sand out there that are longing for the time when things were simple. And I could feel this wave approaching, and it's the third stage of truth is on its way. So there's this longing for, we're now getting this backlash. We're actually hearing a little snippets of people that are just getting pissed off with this bullshit. So the third stage, who knows what the third stage is?
Acceptance.
Of course it's true. It's taken as read.